Good evening and welcome everyone to this Thursday, July 2nd annual organization meeting. It will be followed by a regular meeting where we will take care of business as usual. May I have a motion to reconvene in a public meeting?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so that's Jessica first and Vinny second. Can we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
To the flag
of the United
of the
States of
United
America
States of America
and to the republic for which it
for which it
stands,
stands,
one
one
nation,
nation, under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty.
liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Domenico to reiterate the executive session motions from this evening.
Sure. The board met in executive session to discuss the employment history of a particular person or persons.
Thank you. For the first item of business, we will swear in our newly elect board members. I will now ask Ms. Domenico to please stand, raise your right hand, and read the oath in front of you. Please insert the position of your district, which would be member of the Board of Education.
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of a Board of Education according to the best of my ability.
Thank you. And I would just like to note that the other board member is Ms. Childs, who will be sworn in at a later date. If all board members concur, may I have a motion to accept my offer to act as a temporary chairperson until the new board president is elected?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, so I had Jessica first and Leah second. And I apologize, I forgot to say that you are now an official member of the Board of Education.
Again, thank you.
At this time, I'm requesting nominations for the position of president of the Board of Education for the 2020-2021 school year. May I have nominations for the office of president?
I nominate Jessica DiDomenica for the office of president of the school board.
Second?
Okay.
Do we need a second?
Yes, may I have a second?
Second?
Are there any other nominations? All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Just one first.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right. So the nominations for president are closed. Ms. Jessica DiDomenico has been unanimously elected president of the Board of Education. May I have nominations for the office of vice president?
I'd like to nominate Sue Childs.
Second.
That was Leah. Okay. And are there any other nominations? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right. So the nominations for vice president are now closed. Ms. Sue Childs has been unanimously elected vice president of the Board of Education. Congratulations. Could you please stand, raise your right hand, and take the oath as president of the Board of Education? And vice president again at a later date.
Okay. Okay, I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of President of the Board of Education according to the best of my ability.
Thank you. You can now please take your appointed seats for the position, and I'll turn over the meeting to the board president who will lead us in tonight's meeting.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Millie. This brings us to section 4, board action and discussion items. I'd like to take agenda for items 4.1 through 4.13. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thanks, John.
Second.
Thanks, Jess. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Section 5 is approval of Committee on Special Education members and Committee on Preschool Special Education. I'd like to take a consent of section 5.1 through 5.7. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thanks,
Second.
Leah. Thanks, Eileen. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, section 6 is motion to adjourn the annual organizational meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thanks, Eileen.
Second.
Second.
Thanks, Leah. Any questions or comments? On favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, section 7, calling the meeting to order. I'd like to call the regular meeting of July 2nd, 2020 to order. I don't have many comments tonight other than welcome to our new calendar year. I'm excited for another year to be president and another opportunity to run for another, to be on the board for another 3 years. I'm certainly very excited to accept the appointment of Christian Hodges as our Director of Athletics tonight. And I welcome him. We've had a very exciting spring of administrative hires and thrilled to be welcoming him to our school district. Section 8 is approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of the retiree recognition of June 24th, 2020?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Thanks,
Second.
John. Thanks, Eileen. Any questions or comments? On favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Section 9, administrative and committee reports. Dr. Garcia, do you have some comments for Dr. Champ, who's not with us tonight? Thank you.
Yes, a couple comments. I mean, one is that talking about reopening and how the New York State Education Department over the past few weeks held 4 different regional reopening task meetings. And I participated on one of those sessions on Monday, June 22nd, when about 300 other educators, parents, business owners, school board members, and other stakeholders in this meeting. And in essence, the New York State Department of Education listed 3 major questions for us to look at. But one question focused on, the most important one was basically, what is the greatest challenge we face in schools and also school districts under one of the instructional models, whether we return in person, whether we are continuing this remote distance learning approach, or whether it's going to be a combination of the two. So each region was divided into different areas to try to answer this question. One area is called health and safety. The other area is transportation, facilities, and nutrition. There's an area for teaching and learning. The next one is digital equity and access. Then there's budget and fiscal responsibility. There's social emotional needs, special education, bilingual education, and staffing human resources. So after we broke out into different sessions and kind of looked at these types of questions and tried to talk amongst ourselves and share our feedback to the state representatives, the state then at the end, when they joined back together, they summarized each group's thoughts. And the ultimate goal is really for the state in, we hope, mid-July, to send us a report, all school districts a report, which will talk about guidelines and give us some ideas of the prospects for reopening in the fall. So at this point, it's July 2nd, New York State has not issued any guidelines to us. It's fair to say that some other states locally, New Jersey, for instance, Connecticut, and Massachusetts have actually issued guidelines to the school districts for reopening. We're still waiting for ours. Dr. Champ broke us up into our own task force into similar groups, like I mentioned before, from the state. And we're basically investigating ways that we can reopen in the fall. So I also know that Dr. Champ met with parents at the Manor Club on Monday and also gained some insights and kind of shared where we are at this point. We're still in the early stages. We know that parents have given us some feedback through that thought exchange. that was sent out a few weeks ago. We may actually also send out maybe another brief survey to parents to kind of get some more ideas in terms of their thinking behind reopening. And then we anticipate that mid-July, or by the latest, we hope by the end of July, the state will give us some guidance so we can actually come up with our proposals for in terms of reopening for the fall. So beyond that, at this point, we haven't sort of really identified, which areas we should be, finalizing, because absence of some guidance, we're kind of just making this in a vacuum and really need the guidance from the state to kind of help us finalize our approaches. As someone who's working on the teaching and learning, the educational program task force within the district, Julia Chung's with me as well. And we've been really focusing so far on the known quantities, which is we just ended 3 months of distance learning. If we ever have to go back to distance learning, we received a lot of feedback from parents and from teachers and children about how we could improve on that effort. So if we ever had to close again, all ordered by the state, that we had to go back and do a distance learning environment, we want to make sure that we have a pretty substantial program at the elementary and secondary level. So our small task force has been really focusing on what we've learned over those past 3 months and how can we make a more robust experience for our kids if we had to go back into a remote environment. And now we're also pivoting towards if we actually reopen for all students, what would that look like? I know Jim Rickey is looking at the side which talks about facilities and also logistics of keeping students and staff members safe and what type of protocols we may have to follow. Again, the unfortunate part is that we're working in a vacuum because the state hasn't issued guidelines. So we are looking at CDC guidelines. We're also looking at some of our neighboring states and kind of trying to understand if we were in that state, what would we have to provide for our children, for our staff to keep them safe? So we're kind of working through all those motions to make sure that when New York State does provide us guidance, we'll be ready to kind of issue it in a short term around. So that's kind of where we are at the reopening stage in our district. And again, it's really done some good work, I think, with the teachers, and we'll also be inviting some members of our parent community to join us as well to look at our thoughts in the next couple of weeks. Any questions or any comments at that point? Okay, so moving on.
Thanks, Steve, so much on all your time on this.
Yeah, so it's, every district is actually obviously going through this in different ways. And we just want to make sure that we're providing the best for our students and our staff and making sure it's a safe environment, which in this unknown, environment with COVID-19, we're definitely going to do our best and listen to the advice that's out there from the experts. Our last part, which I want to introduce, one of our newest administrators. On behalf of Dr. Champ, we're pleased to be recommending to the Board of Education the appointment of Christian Hodge as our new Director of Physical Education, Health, and Athletics. Mr. Hodge comes to Pelham from the Poughkeepsie City School District, where he serves as the Assistant Superintendent for Athletics, EE, and Health and Wellness Security. And he will be succeeding Stephen Luciana, who was recently appointed to a similar position in Mayapack. So Mr. Hodge brings a wealth of experience overseeing physical education and the athletic departments in New York State, having held leadership positions in the Syracuse City School District, the Gates Chili School District, and Section 1 Athletics. Prior to coming to New York, he also served as principal and assistant principal for the Calvert County School District of Maryland. He earned his bachelor's in secondary social studies from Cortland State University. He earned a master's degree in school administration supervision from BOE State University, and also a certificate of advanced study from Niagara University. So please join me in welcoming Christian Hodge. Christian, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia.
And Christian, do you have a few words?
Welcome.
Yes. First of all, I'd like to thank you. I want to thank Dr. Champ, and I want to definitely thank the school board. I'm severely honored to be able to have this opportunity to work with you. I'm excited. My family's excited. A lot of my colleagues in Section 1 actually around the state are reaching out to give me welcoming me and welcoming me to Westchester. And I'm really looking forward to it. The energy there, the facility is unbelievable. Can't wait to get working in there to help our students. I was able to meet a few students last night at the athletic banquet out in the park, and that was great. Got a chance to meet the Booster Club, and they're wonderful. Can't wait to work with them. And just overall, it's just the excitement that I have to be able to become a part of this school district and be able to run the athletic department. Very honored and humbled, and I look forward to working with everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kristen.
Thank you. Welcome.
Report
Welcome.
on behalf of Dr. Champ.
Thank you so much, Steve. So I will skip over your usual part, I'm assuming.
Yes, I think we kind of
Okay.
blended that. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any committee reports? I don't believe so. Do we have a policy meeting, Eileen? No. Okay.
Sorry, we did meet and we have an update, but it's
Okay.
It's down the agenda. I don't.
Okay. So we'll wait until we get lower in the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay. So section 4.4 is Assistant Superintendent's update on the whole child. Ms. Chung.
Hi, good evening. So I would just like to, we just had the graduation last Saturday. I would like to sincerely graduate our class of 2020, who certainly had a very unique ending to their senior year. The report from the counseling office shows that our seniors will be attending 127 different colleges in 29 states, some of who will be studying abroad. We also have a few students who are going into employment. Couple of students will be taking a gap year, a few who are going to be in the military and the Marines. Wherever your path leads you, graduates, we are so proud of your accomplishments and your resilience through all this the last few months. And we really look forward to hearing about your next adventures. So congratulations again. Thank you so much.
Julia, I just want to say the graduation was fantastic. After all of the back and forth and what do we do and hand wringing, it was fantastic.
Super special. We had 3 board members as graduates this year. It's kind of unprecedented, if you want to use that term in another way. So, okay, section 9.5, Assistant Superintendent's update on finance and facilities. Mr. Ricky.
Hi, good evening. Happy New Year. We're to the new year over here, so we're very excited and hope everyone's doing well. This week we started off the week with the bang. We had a $20 million band sale to support our capital project for our construction going on. We had a nice turnout. We had participation from 6 different banks. It's a $20 million issue with a 4-month term. Interest rate came in at 0.29%. So we certainly did very, very good there. This is short term. We expect to go out for the longer term bonds in early November. So Mr. Mazzaro has guaranteed me that the rates are going to hold through till November as well. No, but again, we're very excited about it. In the finance world and in doing this project, these rates again, they're performing better than what we had shared with the board previously. So all good news. The capital work continues to move very nicely. As Mr. Bryce would say, they're swinging steel. So the crane arrived on Monday morning, and by Monday afternoon, they had already put some of the support beams in place. And if you have a chance to drive by the Hutchinson School, the gymnasium is shaping up very nicely, and it's really amazing to watch it take shape and form, and it's pretty neat. Also last week, members Bryce Young and Child and Russ Davidson and Triton, we all met at, last week we met and we looked at the brick at the Hutchinson School. So to look at the final design for Hutchinson School, and we also looked at some of the work that was happening at the high school with the parapet walls and the brick and all of those exciting things that happened with our capital project. And we also looked at some additional work that looks like is going to be needed at the front of the school that was found as we're doing this work. The KG&D and our architect is currently scoping that work out to get us an understanding of exactly what that work will entail. But it does have to do with the work above the front doors of the high school, and some of those pieces will have to be replaced. We'll probably include some windows needing to be replaced as well. So once we have that information, we're going to look for their recommendations, and we'll certainly share those with the board. On July 1st, we opened up Glover, and that was great after all of this work. It's great to turn it over to the community, and promptly early in the morning on July 1st, we saw people taking to the field, which was really terrific. Again, the track has been cleaned and restriped. We've got the new field. Parking lot was resealed and restriped, and we've done some new fencing and some pruning of the trees, and the tennis courts look fantastic. So the recreation department is managing the tennis courts for their recreation program, and the fields will be used for the baseball field and that area, and softball with town recreation programs. And then the track is open for passive use during the day. So if you get a chance to look at it, it really looks fantastic. I think the folks who work there are very proud of how everything came out. As Dr. Garcia mentioned, we're just working on our reopening logistics, kind of trying to figure out what the plan would look like and trying to figure out what the finish line looks like. And hopefully the state will provide that guidance shortly so that we'll kind of be a little bit more focused on where we're going. It's definitely helpful having that information from the other states, though, to kind of put us in that direction. And again, the question we kind of ask ourselves is, what do we need to do to open the doors tomorrow? And that kind of creates that urgency for us and helps us answer those questions. We got the auditors coming in 2 weeks, so the business office is very busy closing out the year and opening up the new year. And in this week's this meeting this evening, again, the least popular one is we're asking the board to approve the tax warrant, which is the result of the board election. And we've got our general renewal of many services, professional services that we have year to year. One item that we've included too is our cyber insurance. That's part 2 of the insurance that we asked the board to approve at the last meeting. And again, a generous donation from the Teachers Association. So thank you.
Thank you so much. So this brings us to section 10, public hearings. I'd like to take a motion to recess to the public meeting.
So moved.
So moved.
Thanks, Eileen. Thanks, Leah.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Do I have a motion to convene on the draft district safety plan?
So moved.
Thanks,
So
John.
moved.
Thanks, Leah. Any questions or comments? On favor? Any
Aye.
opposed?
Aye.
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 Any abstentions? Okay, section 10.3, do we have any communications and comments from the public? I don't have any on my email. Okay, do I have a motion to convene a public hearing on the draft of the district code of conduct?
So moved.
Thanks, Eileen.
Second.
Thanks, Jess. Eileen or Jim, you want to add anything here?
It's only 2 sections. I just wanted to let everybody know what the specific updates and changes were. So section 9, which starts on page 19, it's harassment, bullying, and discrimination. There were really 3 changes. First, we identified more explicitly the factors that are included in harassment, bullying, and discrimination. There's a bit more clarity around where these events could take place. Like, it added in more specific language around off-campus activities affecting the school, the running of the school. And the final was, we just updated the list of the Dignity Act coordinators that's found on the bottom of page 20. So we're doing, just as a reminder, we're doing the code of conduct sort of piece by piece because it's so big. So as we are working on a section, we put a note on the website that, you know, sections are being updated, and if you have any specific questions, to please contact Millie. So that is that's section 9. And then in 20, we just updated that to, it's the dissemination and review of the code of conduct, and we updated it to include some language around how we're not giving everybody a hard copy of the code of conduct anymore. It's available online. I just want to let you know that number 1, there's a list there of the issues around dissemination, and number 1 still says that we give everybody a copy, and that is going to change in one of the upcoming readings. It just was a change that got left out. So just so you know.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions or comments on this? I know our new principal Berkowitz is going to be quite involved in this.
Can't wait.
Had COVID not struck, I know Miss Clark would have sunk her teeth into really making some changes with the code of conduct, but this is something we do every year. So this is public hearing on the code of conduct, but I know it's. Leah?
Mrs. Clark did work on these changes.
She did. Yeah, she was
Very
up
good.
with us till the end.
Oh, I'm sure. She wanted a full overhaul, like bit by bit, but it takes almost the entire school calendar year to make the changes necessary. It's a very cumbersome part, as you guys have learned with the policy.
So that's that.
Communications and comments from the public. I do not have any. So do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Thanks, Leah. Thanks, Benny. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Section 10.8, sorry, motion to reconvene in a public meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thanks, John.
Second.
Thanks, Jess. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Section 11 is financial reports and motions. I'd like to take a consent of 11.1 through 11.32. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thanks, Ben.
Second.
Thanks, Leah. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? I'd like to take a motion for 11.33, motion to approve donation of funds from the parent teachers PTA for the 6 district schools. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thanks, Jess. Thanks, John. So this is a recommendation to the board from the PTA for the 6 district schools to cover field trips and field trip transportation costs for the 2020-2021 school year, recognizing that such expenditures shall be incurred at various times during the course of the fiscal year. The Board of Education authorizes the superintendent to accept donations for such purpose through the end of the 2020-2021 school year and account for such funds through the Expendable Trust TE Fund. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Super helpful to our students. And section, 11.34, motion to approve donation of funds from the Pelham Memorial High School Extra Classroom Activity Fund and the Pelham Middle School Extra Classroom Activities Fund. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Vin. Thank you, Eileen. Trying to pull that up, actually. Okay, here we go. Let's see.
This is more of a forward advance of donations, forward authorization, because you may get donations throughout the year. So this is something we do every year.
Would you like me to read it out loud? I was trying to find it and I wouldn't pull up for a second. Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, I mean, really, it just says from the that this permits the school district to accept donations from the Extra Classroom Activity Fund and from the middle school Extra Classroom Activity Funds. These types of things happen from year to year, and they can happen relatively quickly. So these are just the types of items that we'll ask, we can accept relatively quickly, and then we can provide that report at year end.
Thank you. Do you have any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Section 12, Superintendent's Personnel Recommendations. I'd like to take a consent 12.1 through 12.4. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thanks, John.
Second.
Thanks, Eileen. Any questions or comments? Additions from Steve or Jim?
Just congratulations to Christian. Welcome.
It's official.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
certainly second that. We've got our student workers coming in too, so we're able, with the past budget, we're going to bring some of those kids in. Certainly more demand than we're able to hire them all, but we split around and we're going to get as many kids in here as possible. We're looking forward to using them.
That's great, Jim, especially when it's tough for kids to find jobs this summer. That's a wonderful opportunity. Thank you.
Some of them heard were saying how it might be an easy summer because they've gotten such a head start on so much of it. And I said, no, 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 you get ready.
They are lucky. The top floor is already taken care of, so at the high school. So they did luck out a little bit.
Mr. Condon will keep them busy.
I'm sure he will.
Christian, we're so excited for you to join our district.
Yes, I am too.
Congratulations.
Yes. Really looking forward to it.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I'll be starting on the 20th.
Great.
We'll look forward to meeting you in person. So many
Yeah.
new people to meet in person, for real. So
Yes,
we'll look forward to that. Okay, all in favor?
thank you.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Congratulations. Okay.
Thank you.
Section 13, Pupil Personnel Services. We have Schedule D. Do I have a motion to approve Schedule D?
So moved.
Thanks,
Second.
Leah.
Second.
Thanks, Benny. Any questions or comments? On favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Section 14, New Business 4.1. Any new business? Section 15, Communications and Comments from the Public. I do not have any. 16,
Madam President, would you entertain a motion to adjourn?
I sure would. Do I have a second? Thanks, Benny. Any questions or comments? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Have a great 4th, everybody.
Everybody, happy
Happy
4th of July.
Sunday.
Welcome to the new
Thank you,
year.
thank you again. Thank you again.
New Year.
Thanks, Christian.
Thank you.
Happy
Again.
holidays.
Congratulations.
You too.
Okay.
Happy holidays.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.